Excellent, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of CAV. So excited to be hanging out with you for the next hour or so. And as usual, I'm not alone. I'm with
It's Cosmo.
Yeah.
What do you want me to say it properly? I'm not going to say it like that. Come on, we're not in the club. Hi, guys.
welcome to my YouTube channel.
Welcome to Self-Cav. You finish.
Sechaba is still not here. The guy got married. When was it? Two weeks ago.
Yeah. So he's on honeymoon.
He's still on honeymoon, but he definitely should be back next week. So from next week, you'll start to see him. For this episode, though, we have a friend of ours, a special guest. He goes by the name of Givy, or rather, we call you Givy.
Yeah. Don't like Givy.
He goes by the name of Given Baloi. He's a friend of ours, and he decided to just chill with us on this episode. So, Given, welcome, brother.
Yeah, I was like, while Sitch is away,
Given came to play.
Yeah.
What's up, Given?
You might not see him again.
Job
Yes,
stolen.
Yes.
You good?
I'm good. Just today, I came with my face starting to break out, Nyana. So,
What?
I don't know. It's so weird. Like, that doesn't...
America's stress.
I never even broke out when I was a
Sorry,
teenager.
stress.
Really?
know.
So then it must be stress related.
I mean, I'm not stressed.
Subconsciously, maybe. Maybe subconsciously.
I mean, life feels pretty good.
Winning on all fronts.
What's stressing me out?
Yeah.
But I guess my bank account was a bit heavy. That can be stressful.
Oh my God.
I'm
Okay.
joking.
Wow.
Can I send you my bank account number while you're at it?
It's a joke.
Since you're handing out e-wallets.
It's not a joke.
It's actually the opposite of that.
It's not a joke. Wait, guys. How are you?
I'm good. I had a very chilled weekend, especially with the weather where it felt like we were in a hurricane or something. So luckily for me, I wasn't working, so I was indoors in my bed, vegetating like the rest of South Africa, so it was great.
How does it feel when you don't work?
It's twofold. It's nice to rest. It sucks because I don't have money. Because I work on the weekend. So if I'm at home, it's a problem financially. But my soul gets to relax a little bit and recalibrate. Also because I'm very busy during the week with like admin and I play a lot of sports and then it's like gym and then it's I'm an
you're a
auntie.
mom as well.
I'm not a mom. I'm an auntie. Sorry. I'm an auntie. I must go and do school pickup.
Mom.
No, but that's like one responsibility. And then when my sister comes home, that's her child. It's not mine. Back to sender. So I have to pick him up during the week. So it's nice to actually just sit in bed and like do nothing. You only get up to go to the kitchen and then back into bed. It's great. Well, I did go to Nelspruit actually. I haven't been to Nelspruit in a while. I went there on Friday. So it was nice to actually be out there on Friday and then Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
What was happening in
Relaxing.
Nelspruit?
I had a gig.
Oh, okay.
So nothing particular, but it was nice to actually be out there. Yeah.
I'm goishing. This research thing must just come to an end, but I'm almost there.
You signed up for it.
I did.
And you paid for it.
I did.
So
That's the thing that's awkward about when you study. When you study things like that, it's like you don't have a choice because you paid so much money.
Yeah.
Right? I was telling that to Brandon. I'm like, I don't have a choice.
You have to pause. Actually, do people fail? Like, because I'm like, what?
There has to be something wrong with you if you fail.
There are some people who do, but I think also with something like an MBA, you also do it later in life. I feel like people who actually are more inherent to fail, it's maybe like during school when you feel like you're forced to do it. Like, when you're in high school and you're just like, I don't want to study for this test, whatever, I'll get by. Sometimes in varsity as well. But MBA is an actual choice. You've given yourself a few years to go through life and then say, okay, I'm going to be responsible because firstly, it's coming out of my pocket, not my parents. And number two, I want this thing. Whereas before, you didn't necessarily want it. So I think the necessity of passing is all there.
It really is. But 6 days left, and then I
Nice.
don't have to think about it ever again. So that's exciting.
We'll celebrate with you.
I told him we need to take him on a pub crawl. So last week when we shot, I said when Thabang finishes his submission, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, then we're gonna go on a pub crawl. So he says, I know he doesn't drink, but he's going to indulge me, even if it's something I don't know, light. Why are you laughing?
Why are we doing a pub crawl?
Because you need to celebrate. It's an expensive thing, and you need to be able to let your hair down.
Yeah, and say thank you
Yes,
for all the stress.
exactly.
Not a pub crawl though.
Yeah, but we'll figure it out. I mean, we'll do something.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be a pub crawl. I have to
problem
be
is
honest, but we'll do something.
You guys are, it's like the blind leading the blind.
No, the blind.
And having to be caught up in that, it's just like, yo.
I
know
feel
him.
like I'm the victim in this. So when I met Noni, I was a simple kid from Pretoria.
Oh my
I
gosh.
never used to.
Wow.
Given uses me as an excuse, so much so that everyone makes it seem like I'm the problem. But
I
anyway,
think you
we're
guys
neither
are
here
both
nor
the
there.
problem.
We're not here to talk about me and Given. We're here
Yeah.
to talk about what's hot and happening today.
100%. All right, that said, let's get into it. We'll start with what's popping. I read a really sad story. A 9-year-old boy. Let me actually read it. Where is it? 9-year-old boy kills himself
Yo.
in Cape Town. So police say the circumstances surrounding the tragic death of a 9-year-old boy whose body was found at his home on Sunday are under investigation. The boy, a learner at Delft North Primary School, hanged himself. While the full details are not available, it is believed that the boy had tried to take his own life before.
That's scary.
9-year-old kid. Your nephew, what does he think about at this stage of his life?
You know what? I worry about a lot of these things as well. Purely because we're not really sure. Like, the things that kids are exposed to today are not exactly what we grew up with when we were kids. Do you know what I mean? Social media, cell phones, TV, all of these high sensitivity images are being thrown at kids right now are things that we didn't necessarily grow up with. At 9 years old, I was on the streets begging to play at post 6 p.m. Do you know what I mean? And I was only getting into trouble for coming home after sunset. Do you know what I mean?
Scop the ball.
So the fact that these kids are have so much information at their disposal also goes to show that the fact that he knew how to do it and to attempt it more than once means, firstly, there's a mental health issue that needs to be addressed. Are the parents aware of it with the first time it happened? Did they try to do anything about it? But also over and above that, what is troubling this kid so much? And was he coerced into doing it? Was he bullied? Was he just not dealing with himself mentally because maybe right now he's in a space where he's not okay? Or is it the images that he's seeing on social media? Because there are certain shows as well on YouTube that a lot of teachers have actually warned about, that be careful that your kid doesn't watch this and this, because they mask it as a cartoon, but they're actually teaching kids how to do weird and very risky things, you know?
Yeah. What do you think?
I think, look, we did something like this on one of my shows about the research did show that younger children are sort of committing suicide more than before. And it's the exposure. There's just too much. I mean, even it's hard to handle as a grown up, right? There's just so much pressure. Like especially if you're like exposed to all social media and this and life that you have to go through and all of that. And then the kids are sort of adopting that early on in life where they have to, I think keeping up with the Joneses was something you did maybe as a teenager latest, and then your early 20s and as an adult. Now as a kid, you're exposed to that because other kids are doing other this, that, and the other. Then there's also that social media is pushing a lot of lots of violence and not violence necessarily in the physical sense, but also even with your words, right? Algorithms are designed to push the negative stuff, the funny stuff, the stuff where people are attacking people, right? There's a video I saw yesterday on TikTok where this guy's trying to do a prank. I don't know if you see the one with the loaves, the many slices of bread, and then the mom reacts like, so much bread. And so he's trying to do that to his mom or something. And then his nephew's in the room, realizes that the uncle's trying to do a scam, a prank, sorry. And then, calls him out for it, like in the video. So people are annoyed by this, which I get as like, okay, what you doing, kid, right? But the comments get so like, it's, like there's a comment where it's like funny, like, oh, why is this kid like this? Then they just bully the child. This is like now adults, like now they're going heavy. It's like they've missed, there's something wrong with just how, like, 'cause I'm looking at that, I'm like, this is a 9-year-old, like, sure, one little comment like, oh, why is this kid like this? Sure. Now everyone is just jumping on this train of, and at first you think it's in jest, then you start realizing that some of these people are actually serious about this. And what's also happened for a lot of these kids, they don't have the luxury of having grown up in a world where there wasn't social media. So then now social media and real life become the same thing for them. So if there's a lot of pressure and a lot of things going on social media, that's what's happening in their lives. It's not really, but that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
We know of a life outside of that. Have we been drawn into the social media stuff? Of course. But we, at the very least, have an understanding that, oh, there's life outside of this. I know I've sat down and I've said to myself, what did I used to do before there was social media? Like, what would I do when I had social media when I was in matric. Before that, there was no such thing. So I would just sit at home and watch television. I would chat to my friends. I'd read magazines. I was reading.
We used to read these things called magazines and books.
You read a magazine, it was People magazine and Teen Zone. But, you were sort of, but I was able to engage with my real life in a way that these kids are just not. And I think too many parents are too lax about what their kids are exposed to. Yeah. There's just too much relaxation.
I want to get into that. You talk about the parents. Who do we blame when something like this happens?
I want to just highlight that, look, a lot of suicide happens as a result of, it could be depression, anxiety. It's a very deeply psychological thing. So some people are just prone to committing suicide. So it's almost like there's very little you can actually do about that aspect of it, right? But in terms of protecting the child, then obviously that's the parent's responsibility. Like, I don't have kids, so, my life is not designed to be child friendly.
Yeah.
And so is the content that I will post. Right, I just so happen to post child-friendly content generally, but you can't guarantee that everyone else is going to protect your kids, not strangers on social media. You have to do it, and fully so. The truth is, there's so much more to do as a parent now, because even if you've blocked social media from your kid's phone, they have other friends at school whose parents are not doing anything about it, so they're still exposed. So you have to be very. It's harder to be a parent now.
Yeah. How do you guys do it?
I'm not even gonna lie to you, we're struggling. And I say we're struggling as a reality, not necessarily to ask for like sympathy or whatever the case is. Because I do think every parent is going through the same thing. It's not necessarily it's a norm now to have your child using a cell phone or having a tablet or being in front of the TV or being exposed to these images. It's nothing you can run away from. You can cover it as much as you want. You can say, my kid won't have a tablet, my kid won't have a cell phone, but you send your child to school and at some point they're going to then see another child who's got that at school, who's got these the devices that you're trying to run away from. So I don't think it's necessarily about your child having a device and being and watching whatever they need to watch on these devices. It's about you, how you control it. Because I think there is some merit in teaching your child how to use it and how to also then protect whatever they are actually watching. So for instance, for my nephew, what we've done is then delete normal YouTube and we only left YouTube Kids on his tablet. We've kept the apps that we think are child friendly for his age, where he's able to watch learner programs and things that he can actually learn from. Yes, there are some shows on YouTube Kids, but we can also monitor it from a parental guidance perspective. And YouTube has tried to create that as well. Because as an app, they understand that they allow people to upload whatever it is that they want. They also need to have some sort of responsibility as a company to then say, okay, how do we manage this so that we're not letting people upload just anything? So there is some sensitivity towards that I think YouTube has kind of implemented. So use those controls to kind of manage what it is that your child is watching. Also then manage maybe say the screen time. So not necessarily saying you're not going to have a tablet, because at some point they're going to feel inferior when they're interacting with other kids. But they can also say, oh, I have a tablet. I'm just not on it for 10 hours at a time. Maybe they're on it for about 2-3 hours a day. So at least they have the experience of having a tablet so that you're not making them feel inferior, because that also then brings in bullying. When they're at school, all of a sudden, oh, you don't have a tablet. And then they get all in their feels about certain things. So at least give them the access, but manage how much they watch and what it is that they're watching. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's important to also be around them while they're watching these things and listen to some of the shows, because you also then have some sort of insight as to what is he interested in. Okay, cool. Some stuff is really cool that gives you some ideas maybe for birthday parties and things like that. But other stuff you can say, you're not watching that anymore. Then you know how to block it and constantly then monitoring from that perspective. But I also do encourage my nephew to also play outside. Luckily, we live in a complex that actually has a lot of
have
kids.
friends. Yeah.
So because he's the only child, obviously for him it's a little bit tricky because he's got no one else to play with in the house. And obviously at some point we're also all on our own devices. So then it's about, okay, monitoring what he's watching at that point in time. But when he does come home, so for instance, I'll fetch him at a certain time at school, but I'll let him play for a little while. So sometimes I fetch him a little bit later so that he can at least interact with kids. He doesn't have the tablet in the morning. When he wakes up, it's literally wake up, go straight to school. You're only gonna watch it in the evening. And then when he does come home, I try to encourage him to play with the other kids in the complex so that he's at least like doing like physical activity first. Hopefully it tires him out and he sleeps. But if that doesn't happen, then at least we monitor what he's watching when he does come back in, you know? Yeah.
I actually wanted to talk about community and how important community is. I'll tell you guys a quick story. A couple of years ago, I think 2018, I was hosting a Bible study, still living in Bloemfontein. And I had this unction in my heart, right, to tell the people who were in attendance to write whatever area of their lives that they're struggling with, right? Write it down, and then we're going to put that paper in the Bible and we're going to pray about it. And I remember looking at like the papers and what people had written. And the results that I saw occurring a lot was isolation, right? And it's an area that I used to battle with myself, because, you know, you look at the dynamics of how one grows up and so on and so forth. And so you find that you enjoy spending time a lot by yourself and you think it's a good thing. Because oftentimes we confuse solitude with isolation. And I think that was the case with me, where I confused the two. But then I realized as time went by how dangerous just spending time in isolation was, right? The thoughts that I would get and so on and so forth. And I remember watching a sermon and the pastor was talking about community. And so to combat my struggle with isolation, I started to introduce community into my life. And I say all of that to say, I think oftentimes, and I see it with one of my nieces, right? She is always alone, right? On top of that, she's big-bodied. You know, you find a child who's like young and she's big in terms of the body and what that actually does for you psychologically, right? And I would encourage the mom that try and get her out the house, try and get her to, you know, build friendships and relationships and so on and so forth, so that she's not always alone and in her mind. So how I combated that was just having community in my life. And I saw the difference. And I think with a lot of these kids, you know, because of the gadgets and because of the technology and how things are right now, they often find themselves alone in their rooms. The parents are not as strict as how they were when we were growing up. I mean, I have so many scars on my body because my mom would actually beat me up for certain things. You don't find that nowadays.
I mean, don't beat up your kids.
That's not what we say. And it's a point of contention for my wife and I, because I feel like, listen, now and then you do have to discipline your child.
This uncle does not approve.
But it's like the technology, you know, it keeps these kids in isolation, you know, and out of community. And, you know, that's how like the thoughts start, and whatever it is that they see on social media, as you said, then translates into their personal lives. And then you have a case like this with a 9-year-old boy who kills himself. I can't comprehend how a 9-year-old can kill himself. And the fact that the article mentions that he attempted it before, it's like, yo, what's going on?
Yeah.
I mean, there's various things that could possibly be happening to the child. I mean, I think we're all very aware of the fact that some mental illnesses you're born with it, and maybe they only start to manifest a little bit later on in life. And I think he might have been dealing with a lot. So we don't know if it was a mental thing. I don't want to put it to that, but I'm saying it's a possibility. It could also have been bullying that happened at school. It could have been anything that he was possibly struggling with. It might have been being motivated by something on social media or whatever the case may be. What I do worry about is that, and I don't want to put full blame on the parents because sometimes parents are also unable to assist. But I did request or maybe expect for the parents to also get involved the first time it happened, because that should be a little triggering for you as a parent to be like, yo, I almost lost my child. What's the problem? How can I fix it? How can I get involved? And maybe they did try all that they could as parents, because like I said, we can't necessarily always put it on them to say, where's your responsibility as a parent? Sometimes a kid is just not okay, and that's what they feel is their out. You know, even if the person was an adult and you was in your grandfather at this point, and then your son commits suicide, you're never gonna understand it as a parent. Whatever that person is dealing with is if they want to do it, they're gonna do it at that point. It's just scary because us as humans, we think you're 9 years old, you've got your whole life ahead of you, you've got so much more to achieve. We don't know what that child was battling with.
It doesn't work that way.
Do you know what I mean? We don't know what the child was battling with.
I mean, suicide doesn't discriminate, like, right? You've
Exactly.
seen it's everyone from someone who doesn't have much to someone who has billions.
Yes.
So there's like what you said, there is that mental aspect of it. That's just a natural part of that person's genes and genetic and all that stuff that needs treatment, of course, and maybe help and whatever. Because some people are just prone to being depressed and that sort of thing. But I think maybe the springboard here was more now the conversation about, for you, I think the question is like, what's happening with society, right? And I think that then becomes the crux of what we can discuss here, because we don't know what his particular case is. But from the other things in society that could have pushed him to that is that there is a lot of things for kids now where it's just a lot. And I think for parents, look, our parents didn't spend a lot of time having conversations with us about mental health or whatever, because they just didn't know. It's like, they didn't have access to that kind of information.
Yeah.
In 2025, we do, right? And I mean, I'm not a parent, but I imagine that maybe it helps for parents to now get more interested in reading the literature, go online, read, okay, how are kids at this age? What should I look out for? Those kind of things. I think that kind of thing will go a long way, I know parents who are young parents right now who still don't know how to speak to their kids about sex when their kids grow up. And it's like, what do you mean? It's 2025. You surely, that, okay, I can't just do the whole, just don't do it or this or whatever. That there's so much literature online telling you psychologically, like I do research on a daily basis, right? Even just that conversation. If I just Google that now and I say, how do you speak to my child about sex, for example, it will just lay out a whole thing. How to speak to them when they're 10, when they're 6, when they're 12, when they're 16, what the conversation should be, where you should be as a parent, how to sort of govern that. I think maybe the bigger question actually is, do parents and people who want to have kids understand what that actually means from a responsibility perspective? It's a lot. It's hard work. I know for me, when I've sort of thought about it, one of the things is deciding to myself, do I really want to bring a human being, and do I have the capacity to bring a human being on this earth? Because I have a full understanding of what that means. That means dedicated time. That means me sitting sometimes and just researching and saying, this kid doesn't want to eat today. What's going on? What are the possible things that are happening here? How can I resolve this? I think as an aside, I'm not saying the parents are at fault in that particular situation. I'm just opening up the conversation to say, as parents, and especially as young parents right now, like, bro, read something, do more research. You can't parent the way your parents were parenting. Exactly. Our parents just didn't have access to that information.
Yeah.
We do. We can do better.
Yeah.
So,
And I suppose what you're saying ties in with John Cena's posture. He's in his 40s now, towards his 50s. He doesn't have 50s? Any.
He can't be 40.
No, please, he's not 40.
Really?
He can't be 40.
John Cena.
I'll be so shocked if John Cena is.
Let's see.
Are you searching there?
Yeah, John Cena. John Cena is 48.
Yeah,
I mean, okay, he's knocking on 50.
He's got up to 50.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
fine.
That makes a lot.
And he doesn't have any kids, right?
Yeah.
And every time he's asked, why don't you have kids? And he's like, dude, that's a big responsibility.
It is.
Do you understand what that actually entails?
a lot of
And so
people don't.
I'm cognizant of the responsibility that comes with having a child, and I don't feel like I am ready for that right now. And he's being honest.
Yeah.
It is. A lot of people don't know. I think people are having kids so casually. Like, it's like a...
Do you know what always bothers me? And I have this conversation with a lot of men, especially because, when men try to have these weird conversations about hitting on you and stuff, it seems as though men have this thing of prioritizing having a child over marriage. And I sit back and I ask myself, why on earth would you want to tie yourself to somebody and say, I would rather you have my kid than me marry you? Do you realize it's a forever relationship, the thing?
Yeah, that's the real marriage.
You're tied to me for life. We cannot disband this thing because we both have our DNA in this young person that we bring into this world. But you have this big issue about putting a ring on my finger. Whereas if we disagree and we decide we don't want to do this anymore, we can go to court, divorce each other, and never have to speak to each other ever again. Why are you prioritizing a child? Is it a legacy thing? I don't understand it because the responsibility is far higher with a child than it is with you feeling like I'm going to take over your life and I'm going to change you.
Yeah.
What do you mean? You're going to change because you're a father. You have to change. You don't have a choice but to change because your life becomes about the child.
Yeah.
The moment you become a parent, it's no longer you in this life anymore. You could get up and just book a flight and go to Europe for 3 weeks when you're single. But when you've got a child, you need to organize your entire life around those 3 weeks and how it's going to manage and where the child is safe and whether they're eating, whether they're looked after by the right person. Are they getting everything they need before you even book the flights?
Yeah.
Can you see the change? And that's just you being a parent. It's not even about you being a married parent.
Yeah. And also as a dad, I mean, I don't want to, come down on the dads, but also as a dad, you're not a secondary parent.
Like
You're not parent. There's not mom plus one.
Yes.
You're equally a parent. Like, because the example you use now, for a lot of guys, it would be a case of, oh, no, I'm gone for 3 weeks, but, the kid is with his mom. No. What is he going to be doing those 3 weeks when you're out of the country?
Exactly.
When are you calling him? What's his schedule so that you're able to talk to him? What's going on? There's a lot of that people just don't think about. It's like oh well.
And also, we're not in the stone ages where women are sitting at home and just looking after the child. I've also got a job, bro. Sorry.
So if you're gone for 3 weeks, that means it's your turn, you better make sure you've made plans.
Guys,
Exactly.
men don't care. That's the problem.
No, 100%.
And they realize that their disposition doesn't include being nurturers. I think that's the problem.
And that's what needs to change.
Men look at women and they know that women are nurturers. We know for a fact that you will never ever leave your child. You will never ever abandon your child.
Ooh, I see what you mean.
Until you have a child with a woman who doesn't care, because they do exist.
That's true. Not everyone has maternal instincts.
100%.
It's interesting because we went away 2 months ago, my wife and I. And I remember we met this father, Indian guy, with 5 children, and all of them were girls. And he started telling us his story and how the wife, they ended up divorcing, but the wife, she then got into drugs and he had to take over. So you have instances like that where men will step up, but I think generally men just don't give a damn.
Because even that language, I had to take over. So where were you?
Like,
What are you taking over? You're supposed to.
Were you missing an action?
Yeah.
Do you know what always cracks me
Guys,
up?
do not focus. Please do not hyper focus on that.
No, but that's very important because it's like when guys say things like I'm babysitting or it's like, no, you're not babysitting. That's your child. What are you talking about?
Exactly. And you'll find that, and I've experienced this with a lot of my male friends where they've had kids with other people and then obviously now they're in maybe say marriages and they're in it now.
Yeah.
And it's like they're completely mind-boggled about how much attention a newborn baby needs. And it's like, but you have another child. Are you telling me this is what happens. You have kids wherever you are, and then now you're getting married. Now your wife is telling you, Vuga babas, 3 o'clock, vuga
100%.
sonke,
Do your
like,
job.
hiya. Now where you're going to make a bottle. Because you don't realize how much work actually goes into keeping a baby alive for the first year. The first 12 months, nje.
I want to know,
It's a lot of work.
do you guys think I'm naive for what I'm about to say? I think all of this boils down to the dating stage. the data or data collection stage. Because I've always said, right, when before I met my wife, the top quality or trait that I looked for in a woman was kindness. So do you guys then think oftentimes what we do is we overlook certain things hoping that the person will develop these things or maybe assume these things later on in the relationship, and when they don't, it's like, what the hell is wrong with you? But it's like, hey, I never had these things
You knew
from
this
the start.
jump. Yeah.
Now you're expecting these things from me. It's like,
Exactly. But also, did you ask the question? Because one thing I can tell about women, they'll be very honest.
but that's exactly what I'm
Ooh,
saying.
I disagree.
Why?
I think men are honest. I think men will tell you what it is, how they feel, what they want, what they don't want. Women, on the other hand, are willing to more bend the truth. So, for example, he says, I don't know if I'm interested in having kids. And then she goes, oh, okay, I'm all right with that, even though she's not all right with that. Or he says,
No, I think
we'll get married, we might get married. And she's like, oh, okay, and she's not okay with it, right? Men, on the other hand, are honest. Like when the guy says something, believe him, even when he's like saying it jokingly. Trust it, believe it, he means it. Girls, on the other hand, are more willing, and it's because unfortunately, I always say the femmes because I include the gays and the femme gays in particular. The femmes are in a position right now in society where there's a level of desperation that is leading to a lot of lies and being told. That's leading to a lot of not so good things being accepted. So a lot of standards are being dropped, because I'd rather just be in a relationship and that sort of thing. You sort of push into that. Whereas guys, if I meet a guy tomorrow, or I'll use you in the just a heteronormative space. If you were to meet a guy tomorrow and you said to him, "Oh, I don't want to have kids," trust me, he's not continuing that relationship. He's not saying, "Oh, okay, we'll see." No, he's not doing it. It's that. But a girl will stay in that.
I understand that, and I think it's a different type of woman.
Yeah.
I don't think it's all women,
100%.
and that's why I'm saying women will be honest, because maybe the type of woman that I understand and the people that maybe even with myself, for instance, that you experience, I think the hyper independent woman will be honest about what she wants
100%.
because she's very career focused and she understands what she wants. She's laid out her career goals. She knows when and what she wants. I think the women who are more likely to bend what they want and how they interact in a relationship are the ones who don't have any focus, who don't really know what they want. They're more likely to bend themselves to fit a man because they want a man to protect them and to look after
Is
them.
it a lack of focus though?
It's usually a lack of self-love.
It is a lack of focus. Yeah, you're right. A lack of self-love. I think, and I'm saying this, obviously I'm generalizing. I'm not necessarily saying all that, but to avoid this thing of saying all women just
No,
bend the
of course
truth.
not, of
I
course
think
not.
I think I'm also just opening up the conversation to say there are some women who are career focused and saying, I don't want kids.
Yeah.
I want to travel for the rest of my life because they're making money and they understand that the world is their oyster and they want that freedom. There's nothing wrong with that. But then at least they'll be honest at some point in the conversation, more likely in the beginning of the dating stage than they will maybe later. I think women start to bend the truth a little bit, and I'll admit to it that we do. We bend the truth a little bit the more invested we are in this conversation. Then it's like, oh, I actually see myself with this person.
yeah.
Let me see if I can be malleable a little bit. That's at that point when I think most women lie. But I think in the beginning, they're more likely to even jokingly tell the truth, but not
Yeah.
maybe be upright about it.
It's we spend a lot of time tearing women down, and this is on the men's side and women's side, that there's a lot of women that just lack in the confidence department. Where there's just the confidence is low. Where a lot of women then lack in the self-esteem department, right? Where too many women are raised to believe that, having a partner is the end all and be all. For men, to go back to your kids thing, the reason why they don't value marriage as much is because they're not taught that. They're taught have kids. They're not really taught get married. Like build your legacy, but whether you have a wife, you have 10 wives,
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, yeah. But if you have kids, that's great. Whereas for women, you're taught you must have a husband and a home and kids to raise and that sort of thing. And then I think a lot of the confidence, and I'll use this data as someone who produces Ask a Man on Metro FM.
That's where we're at.
More often than not, when the ladies call, there's just a big lack of confidence. I don't know how many times some media has to come on and
Yes.
say, love yourself, self-love, self-love, self-love. And when you don't love yourself, it becomes very easy to not have boundaries. but to also then sort of make yourself moldable to whatever guy you meet. Oh, let's make it work. Let's see what will happen. And there's too much hope. Hey, he's not gonna change, guys.
He's not gonna change
He's not
at
changing.
all.
Trust.
I mean, there's various factors that are involved in this whole thing. I think we can go back and forth on how we interact for like the entire day. But I do think at some point it's all about honesty and involving yourself
100%.
in the relationship, one, and number two, fully involving yourself in the child's life as well. Because if a 9-year-old can take their life, there's something that you as a parent are not seeing because you're also then refocused on other things. And I think it's important to also note that. But also, even with that child who did commit suicide, there are other factors that could be involved. It could be maybe it was a mental illness, and maybe they couldn't afford the medication. They couldn't afford the psychiatrist who could even prescribe the medication. They couldn't afford the things that could have saved him from actually taking his life at that point in time. We don't know what the issue was. It's just very painful as a parent to actually lose your child at such a young age. And my heart definitely goes out to the parents to having dealt with it, you know?
Who do we call for people who are depressed? Who do they call? What's
There
the
is
hotline?
there is SADAC that's ooh.
I actually have it readily here. as a
Oh,
team
thank
chat.
you very much. Ask a man.
Just need to find it. You call SADAC on their 24-hour toll-free helpline 0800 567 567 0800 456 789 0800 121314. You can SMS them on 31393, or you can chat to a counselor live on their WhatsApp line 076 882 2775.
And I hope people also understand, also just as a whole, not necessarily only for children, but even for adults.
Yeah.
When you call hotlines like SADC and stuff, please understand that as South Africans, we do have subsidized opportunities for people to actually go and see therapists. So I know a lot of people always say, oh, therapy, okay, yeah, I want to do it, but I can't afford it. No, there are lines that you can call where you can get a therapist that is government funded, where you can actually see somebody who can assist you with whatever is troubling you at that point in time. I think a lot of people shy away from it because they don't have that information, and I think we can Google it and possibly even get all that information. Please use your cell phones. I'm sure everybody who's watching this has a cell phone. Use your cell phones, Google for that number, and seek out for help. I know financially we're in a crisis because Cyril's economy is just shooting up and we don't know how to afford
getting better.
anything. But there are opportunities, government-funded opportunities for you to see a therapist. If you think you need it and you need to be talked off a ledge, please can you speak to these people and get the help that you need.
Also, just to add to that, there's nothing wrong with going to therapy, guys.
Exactly.
Because there's the stigma, right? That once I go to therapy, that there's something wrong with me.
Yeah, there is something wrong with you. That's the thing we're trying to fix.
But there's nothing wrong with. There's nothing wrong about it.
No, but what I'm trying to say is, it's like why you go to the doctor, right? You're bleeding, like, you know.
Yes.
I think what I'm trying to say is, it's normal.
Yeah.
I get you.
It's that.
Hence, I'm saying there's nothing wrong about it.
Yes.
There may be something wrong with you, but there's nothing wrong about
There's
it.
nothing wrong with seeking help when there's something
100%.
wrong with you.
Yeah.
In any, like, it's the same thing. It's like mental health is literally just as problematic as diabetes or, you know, an injury or any other physical ailment or thing that you go through.
Yeah.
See that way. No, we have to get out of this mindset, yeah, where like, you know, wahafa or something, and it's like this big insult, and it's like, bro, we all crazy. A friend of mine posted the other day about how some studies said that everyone that posts their gym session has psychological problems, and I was like, yeah, we're at the gym. What did you think? Duh.
That's exactly what
That's
we're
exactly
doing.
why we're here.
And you know what? Some people actually do go to the gym to get the frustration
It's
out.
so good.
And I can put my hand up. I'm one of those people. Because sometimes you get up in the morning and just like, oh my gosh, not another day. And then you go to the gym and you come back, you're like, okay, I'm ready to take on the
100%.
world. There's something about that adrenaline that makes you feel like you can accomplish anything.
That's actually a good option from what you were even saying about if the calling thing and whatever. But explore other things. Go start exercising. You know, sometimes maybe just a little start running will just change
get
your
a
life.
bike. Get on a bike. Something like that.
100%.
Yeah. You know, I wanted to talk about who's this guy from Limpopo, Shebeshtxt.
Yes.
But I'm looking at the time and I'm thinking, it's gonna take forever.
No, we can get into it.
Can we?
Yes.
2 lines each.
Oh, 2 lines each. You with the gift of the gab. And I'd probably say this with a lot of bias. Also conflicted because I am Christian and grace is part and parcel of the journey. However, I do think that the guy is problematic, but I think let me give context. So the question is, should Shebeshtxt receive a lengthy jail sentence if convicted? The arrest of controversial Limpopo musician Shebeshtxt has sparked a debate about whether he should receive harsh punishment for the charges against him if found guilty, as this is not the first time he's been in trouble with the law. The 30-year-old rapper was arrested this week for attempted murder, possession of an unlicensed firearm, and malicious damage to property after a shooting incident in Polokwane last month, which resulted in the victim being taken to hospital with serious injuries. He appeared in the Polokwane Magistrates Court, and the matter was postponed to this Friday while he remains in custody. Social media users have been divided. Some believe that the artist has already suffered enough with the loss of his daughter, while others suggest that he should face the consequences for his actions. So the question is, jail time or rehab? In case you don't know, he lost his daughter a couple of months ago. They were involved in a car accident. I think he was driving, and then he got injured. The daughter died. I think she was also 9 years old. Yeah, so that's the dichotomy on social media right now. That should he go to rehab? Should he be sent to rehab rather, or should he face jail time?
Rehab for what?
Kiribati, he's lost his daughter, so he suffered a lot, or enough.
But what are we rehabilitating?
His mind.
But you know that correctional services is a rehabilitation facility, right? Like prisons are for rehabilitation. We don't in South Africa. We don't have a system
Oh,
where
that's the intended
100%,
purpose. Yeah.
100%. But like that's from a South African perspective, when we send people to prison, it's A, to say you did something wrong and so therefore we have to punish you.
Yeah.
But B, we're trying to rehabilitate you. So prison is for rehab. It actually really is for that.
Yeah.
It's a rehabilitation center for criminals.
So I guess it's who's this gentleman who wakes people up at 3:00 in the morning. Moloto. Ndade Moloto. You know the guy?
No.
Yeah, he goes to people's houses around 3:00 in the morning.
Right? Is it like a witchcraft thing?
No, it's not.
Is it a Moja love thing?
Yeah, the modern.
Okay.
So-
we're
so
back.
Why three?
So these people are drug abusers.
I see.
So at the time they are sleeping, very problematic people. So he goes and fetches them around the time, and then he takes them to his rehab center in Limpopo.
You know, there's a Netflix documentary about this very thing and how that went pear-shaped.
Why? How did it end
It
up?
was this camp that they created. I can't remember now what they called it.
Yeah.
But it was a case of these kids who are naughty. We're going to fetch them in the middle of the night, take them to some place and show them how hard life is so that they can get better. I don't know what happens in this situation. I just know that we must be very careful not to glamorize things that could actually become very problematic for society in the end.
Yeah.
Because in that case, it turned out a lot of them were abused. Some of them, one I think, or two of them died actually because it became actual torture.
Yeah.
And so I'd be very curious to see what they do.
So Alostro actually comes from that center. You guys know Alostro, right?
Oh, wow. Really?
Bonga, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Bonga went back to the streets. He
Yeah.
frustrates me.
So nobody's being abused there.
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if
Continue.
Nobody's being abused.
But in terms of the debate, guys, you did the crime, you do the time. It's just because someone is in the media and they're a celebrity doesn't mean now things change. Like if I do any of that and there's proof of it and there's evidence and they there's a trial, then the law will just do its work. This is not even it doesn't work that just because we like someone doesn't mean we have to set the bar lower for them.
Yeah.
And that happens so often with things like we'll hear about our favorite artist who's abused a woman, and because we like the music so much, we then have to like
Compromise and-
compromise. Okay,
yeah.
but it wasn't that bad. But this song is nice. And it's like no, like
Can't do that.
we don't have a separate standard for celebrity. It's everyone is the same.
Yeah.
I say to someone who's been in the entertainment industry for a long time and worked with a lot of these people, they're human beings just like the rest of us. The law applies to them just as equally as everyone else. They have ID numbers just like everyone else. So no,
Yeah.
just no.
Look, I mean, I agree. I agree with Given with regards to if you've done the crime, you need to do the time. And I think also how many chances are we going to give Shebeshtxt? Because him being in the accident with his daughter was already, strike one. Now attempted murder with a gun, and he's threatening people. And apparently, it's not the first time he's done
it's
this.
not. It's
apparently,
not.
it's not the first time that he's threatened somebody with his gun.
He's attempted to stab somebody with a panga.
Do you know what I mean? Firstly, Shebeshtxt as an artist, we need to sit back and understand him as a personality and think about why do we like him? Because he is a very out there, and he's doing weird things on stage, and he's saying weird things in a very boisterous way that we're all just like, we don't understand him, but we don't know understand it, but it's provocative, like that whole vibe, and it's like, and it gets you guys going sharp, okay, because you can laugh at him, but you're laughing at him because clearly there's an inherent problem, I think, and that's how I'm viewing it. We don't know what he grew up on. We don't know what happened to him, whatever abuse happened to him. Unfortunately, it's turned him into the person now who is completely unruly. And all we're doing now is giving him more leeway for him to feel like what he is doing, he can get away with more. Purely now because he's famous, I can do a little bit more because they're not going to arrest me. And I think at some point, where are the adults in the conversation? Where are the people around him in his life who are going to pull him back to himself and say, you cannot behave like this forever? Because if you allow it at a younger age, it manifests in a different point. It manifests in a different time. The fact that he has the audacity to go around with a gun attempting to kill people means he's gotten away with it so many other times before. It's only in the public eye now because we know who he is. And now he's going to think, Bantloela, because he's famous, I'm going to give him another hit and I'm going to do it again. Next time he's actually going to kill somebody and he's going to think he's going to get away with it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So yes, definitely rehab is needed, rehabilitation of who he is. But maybe that rehabilitation is in jail, but he could also be in the psych ward, or I don't know what you call it, area of that jail, so that we can actually figure out what is wrong, what is the inherent issue. Can we deal with that first? Because I also think a lot of time maybe in the correctional facilities, and the reason why you're saying does it work is because we're not too sure if they're actually trying to help criminals be better, or if they're just keeping them in one building for whatever their sentence is, letting them live their lives. Wake up, shower, eat breakfast, go back to bed. Wake up, shower, eat breakfast, go back. Are we actually helping these people be better? Because what is causing them to actually be in this position in the first place?
One of the options was Shebeshtxt is beyond repair.
I don't think he's beyond repair. I don't think any human is beyond repair. Yeah. And that's why I'm saying, let's get to the root of the issue. Because he, as a personality, we also know he's not a creative like that. It's not like he's out there giving us Tupac bars. Do you know what I mean? He's giving us a lot of rubbish on a beat that we're all just entertained with because...
Have you never heard any of his songs?
There's nothing intellectual happening out of there. Do you know what I mean?
You know what? Yeah.
And I'm saying this, and I know I sound like an asshole, but I'm also trying to be realistic in the situation. He's not out there giving us intellectual bars like Kendrick Lamar. At the end of the day, he's giving us music that is just...
Kendrick Lamar.
It's just thrown in together and we're all just like, okay, we don't get it, but woo, it's funny on stage. Do you know what I mean? Yes, it's funny for 5 minutes. Now he's taken this thing to the next level and now it's not funny anymore. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And there is an inherent issue that we need to get to and we need to fix it.
You know what I want to talk about? I want to talk about kids. We were talking about the 9-year-old kid a couple of moments ago, right? What I've learned and seen from kids is that kids do what you do. They don't do what you say. I saw this one time, he was performing and there were a lot of kids singing his song, verbatim, word for word.
Backpacks and all.
100%, right? And my thing is, what are you teaching these kids? Kids are very impressionable when you think about it. Yes. Now you have 100%, you have Shebeshtxt and they see all of these things on social media because they have access to phones, iPads, etc., right? They see this and in their minds, it's like, okay, it's normal to carry around weapons and to hit people and so on and so forth. And I look at it in that way and I'm just like, dude, I don't know what you went through, right? But I know people who went through like a lot of things. They don't go around with knives or they don't walk around with knives and guns and, threatening to kill people or injure people, hurt people, and etc. You know what I mean? So I think he must just be sent to jail, and the rehabilitation must happen there because he's a danger to society right now. He's definitely a danger to the guy, and nobody stops him. And the problem is he has people around him,
Yes, man.
friends,
Yes, man. I don't know if they're friends. They're just there for the paycheck.
100%. None of them say, Infit, what you're doing is nonsense. Can you just calm down? They just watch him. Do whatever it is that he's doing. And I'm sorry, but the guy is a danger to society. He's a public figure. He's influencing young kids, right? At some point, these kids will start to think that this is normal, and we don't want that because then you are perpetuating certain things. We are trying to combat a lot of the social ills, and you have a public figure, who's perpetuating certain things. Now these kids, especially the boys, will walk around thinking it's okay to disrespect women. It's okay to speak to a woman in a certain way, and we're trying to combat that. So I think he should be sent to jail. He should be rehabilitated there. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
And I don't have anything against it.
I'm just happy we don't have a jury system in this country.
The rule of law.
Like
They'd be saying, no, it's fine.
no, Mara, he's funny.
Yes, no.
It's not funny when someone dies.
This is the law. He broke it. I'm empathetic to whatever he might be going
Yes,
through.
but
He has to, that's just how it is.
He has to definitely pay the time. He can be fixed inside the jail.
Yeah.
And I hope at some point we can also implore our government, the G20 is around the corner, implore our government to also then look into our prison system and make it a rehabilitation center, not necessarily just a building where criminals go to go and serve their time. They need to get involved and fixing these people because no human is beyond repair. Nobody is born a criminal. Everybody's born innocent. They eventually get into this position. We can get them back to what we need them to be. Please.
I think we should get somebody from correctional services
Yes,
to come
I would
and have
love
a
to.
chat with.
Yes.
Because I don't understand what happens there. I really don't. You were talking about Yes Man early on, talking about friends. And I guess I want to transition into that right now. Talk about friendships. I was listening to a conversation, right, on fighting for our friendships. It's actually a book. So if you guys want, I can try and get the book for you guys. And there's a lady who made a comment that really stood out for me. She said, I'm 35 and I don't have friends. I used to have a large group of friends, but I lost them over the years. 2 years ago, I met a girl my age who also didn't have friends. We had things in common and we had fun together. But then she met a man and stopped calling me. Turns out the man was really toxic and he was married. She came to me for help. I said, you have to break up with him. She then said she would really feel lonely without him. I was there thinking, but you have me. We can do things together. But to her, I was nothing. She was looking for tips on how to break up the man's marriage. I got up and left. Never in my life have I felt more invisible or unwanted. Since then, I've given up. It stayed with me, that comment, right? Because it captures a very real and very unspoken truth about adult friendships. How they can, out of nowhere, shift and change. And it's like, okay, like we were here once and now we find ourselves here. How did that happen? And as a result, like I want to talk to you guys about friendships. Why do you guys think friendships change so much?
Why are you looking at me?
Because you're our guest. You must start first.
Man, I think it's just part of the growing up process. I think we are evolutionary in our journey as human beings, evolutionary.
Clack it.
And so as we evolve, then certain things just don't work anymore, or other things work, or this. So it's like anything else. Like even it'll be the same thing with your career. It'll be the same thing with TV shows that you like. It'll be, you know, like I watch very different things now to what I was watching and what I was interested in 6 years ago, you know? And so the same thing happens even with friendships and whatever. But also, especially in your 30s and that sort of thing, then other things happen. People get married, they have kids, this, the other thing.
Yeah.
Dynamics change. You're not the people you were when you met, you know, other friends you met at work. So that work became our thing. And so that's what connected us, right? So I met her at work, right? But because we connected and became friends outside of that, then our friendship ran on its own thing. But there's other people that I met at around the same time who I'm not really friends with anymore because the friendship was based on just us being in the same environment. And so we evolve, life changes, things happen, you know, people also change. And you know, conflict happens. It's like, you know, life happens. That's just how I see it.
Yeah, I definitely think life happens. I think people's responsibilities and priorities also kind of change. And I think that also kind of changes people's perspective onto certain things. There's situations, for instance, the expert that you just read from now, where she had mentioned about how they disagreed on a certain thing because she wanted to break up a marriage and maybe she's more she's got her moral compass a little bit more straightened than her friend. That obviously made them see things differently. And I've seen that happen even in my own friendships where that particular situation happened and these two people are no longer friends because of...
Till today.
Yeah, till today, because of the same thing where one was busy with someone who they weren't supposed to be busy with, and then that caused a little bit of a rift in their friendship because from a moral code perspective, it's like, no, we don't do that. And then she was like, oh, but 1, 2, 3. Do you know what I mean? So there's different things, there's different reasons why people kind of break up and they're no longer friends from different reasons. I mean, I don't think a lot of us even sitting in this room are still friends with people that we met in primary school, let alone high school. I think I've only got two friends. I've only got two friends that I still speak to today who I met in primary school.
Yeah.
Whereas the many other people that I made friends with throughout the years, I don't even communicate with. I don't even know what their numbers are because we were friends. Because why? We were in the same room every day and we had to see each other every day in the quad. We were wearing the same uniform.
Yes.
We were talking to the same people. We had no other choice, right? Time moves on and you figure out where your interests kind of lie and whether you guys are still friends. Fine. But I think from an age perspective, that lady mentioning she's 35, I think we have a lot more flexibility to deal with friends in our 20s because we don't have responsibilities. 100%. We don't have rent to pay, a husband to answer to, children to change and look at school fees and look at homework and all of those things. Those things take up a lot of time.
Yeah.
And when you're done, you're exhausted. So all you want to do is sleep. It's not that you're not making time with your friends. You're trying to unwind and be like, yo, how did I survive the last week? Because this kid just took it out of me. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's just a case of realizing that we're not in the same space anymore, but that also shouldn't be the thing that breaks you apart. There's nothing wrong with checking in with someone here and there. That's what I do. I mean, I've got friends, I've got married friends, and I've also got very single friends, and I know when to interact with who.
Given.
At some point, I interact with my married friends when they're available because I understand if Aussie is not available that weekend, I'm not seeing them. Because then they don't have a nanny to look after the kids, right? But then there'll be times where we'll communicate and we'll be like, okay, this weekend Elsie's here, where we're rocking. Then I'll go out with my married friends because that's their only weekend to kind of do stuff. When they're away and they're doing their family things, then I'll call my single friends. Who's available for us to do 1, 2, 3? And then I'm like, okay, cool, let me call that person. Yeah. I think it's also about being intentional with your friendships and also understanding people's situations, because you do have some people who then get angry and be like, this one got into a relationship, what, now she doesn't know me. Okay, are you making the effort to also reach out to them? What if they are in their relationship because they feel like that's where they need to be right now, give it attention, but they're also not hearing from you, so they're like, okay, well, I'm not going to call them either. Relationships are a two-way street. Just as much as you'll put as much attention into a man, you need to put that same attention into your friendships. Yeah. And I don't think people realize that. There's this expectancy. You're going to say, my friends are there forever. Oh, please, I can ignore them for a month. They'll still be there. Yeah, maybe they will still be there. But
yeah.
Brandon.
It's me.
Oh.
FMB. Call me only when you're giving me money, man.
Maybe they will still be there because they're also living their own lives and they're going through a lot or whatever.
Yeah, a lot is happening today in mind. Brendan.
He's looking around, but it's on his phone. Anyway,
Yeah.
maybe they are dealing with their own things and they're dealing with a lot of life things. Yes, fine. Some friendships are like that. I have friends like that as well. I don't speak to them for like 3 months at a time. But when you pick up the phone, it's like nothing has
a nice
changed.
party.
Why? Because we understand that we're adults.
Yeah.
Life is happening. This thing of breaking up with someone just because, oh, I haven't spoken to you in 2 months.
That's
I've
interesting.
also got things to
It's
do.
how even what I've found,
Like-
funny enough, even with that, I was having a chat with someone the other day about how even the term best friend becomes weird in your 30s.
Yes.
It just feels weird. Like, why is that even a thing? Like, why do you
Yeah.
have something or someone you call a best friend? Like,
Yes.
it's not to say you don't have super close friends or very intimate relationships with certain friends. It's that the concept of it becomes strange as an adult. It's like we can't friendship like teenagers when we're grown-ups. We have to realize that the teenage time is done. Like, we're not teenagers anymore, right? Even if I'm not married or in some big relationship or have kids or anything like that. But even then, my life then at this age takes a turn. It's a bit different. To a point where there's times when I just want a weekend where I'm just not doing anything, and I can barely get that because there's always someone's birthday or this or the other thing.
Yeah.
And so you even when you want to make the time to visit someone, I realize now how I don't actually ever get to visit my friends at their places because there's just always something happening. So when I meet my friends is when something is happening.
Yeah.
We're going somewhere, we're meeting at a restaurant, we're meeting at someone's wedding or party or this. And it's sort of a natural part of that life, right? Especially because you're also in a spot where if it's not family life, it's probably career that has a lot of your attention that you're trying to put more effort into. And then you also have all those things. So it's like we can't friendship like we're teenagers. We're not teenagers.
That's interesting. Look, this might sound obvious, but I also think it's not obvious because as people, we're not all the same, right? What is more important, quantity or quality, when it comes to friendships?
Quality, for sure.
Quality, 100%.
It comes across as obvious, right? But I've seen people who just don't give a damn about quality, and it's like I just want to have a lot of people in my life, people I can call friends.
Do you know why? Because then you'll find that a lot of those people are not secure in themselves and they need the validation from strange people to be around them because then they feel like, oh, I've got all these people that I can call on, whatever. But are you actually having real conversations with those people? Do you guys sit on the same value line with those people that you have around you? Because you could have people who are just around because you want to drink. But when did you actually have a conversation with this person? Do you actually know them? Do you actually know where they live? Do you care about their family and what they're going through? If something happened in their family, would they phone you and tell you? Because that is a friend. Not somebody that you drink with on the weekend and then a huge life shift happens in their lives and you don't even know about it. Could you really call that a person a friend? And for me, I think that's an important question to also have because I also wanted to raise this to say, also in our 30s, we're also at a point where we don't need the frivolous behavior around us. And in my personal opinion, there's nothing wrong with a friendship breakup. And I say this confidently because it's a two-way street. The same way you will put effort into a relationship with a partner, you need to put the same effort into a relationship with a friend. And if that friend is not picking up the weight as much as you are, what are you doing? You guys, you are the one who's carrying all of the weight, and that person is just freeloading. And every time you're constantly complaining about them, constantly complaining, at some point it gets tiring. And at some point you're also just like, "Aye, man, why am I always the one doing this? I'm always doing that. I'm always doing this. I'm always apologizing. I'm always picking up the weight. I'm always calling. I'm always fetching them. I'm always making effort. But that person's just there to freeload. Gumnandi. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
It's a relationship at the end of the day. There is absolutely nothing wrong with a friendship breakup if you feel that is not serving you. Those yes men are not serving you because they're just there to tell you you're great. Okay, cool. You can tell me I'm great at points, yes. But be the same person to hold me accountable when I do something wrong.
Yeah.
If you can't hold me accountable when I do something wrong, are you really my friend? Do you really want me to be better for this relationship? The same way, I also have absolutely no issue with people fighting with their parents because that's also a relationship. Because at the end of the day, if your parents are not respecting you as a person and you're not respecting them as your parents, at some point there's going to be conflict. I'm not saying you can cut them off. I mean, they're your parents, but you can actually, because I also understand at some point as a human being, especially when you grow up and you become older and you understand your values and what you want out of life, and this person is just disrespecting you from the time you were born. I don't blame people who don't speak to their parents because they've never been there for them. Why am I the one always trying to then, okay, happy Father's Day, okay, Merry Christmas, okay, happy birthday. The rest of the year, are we talking?
How do you get to that though, Cosmo? How do you get to being fine with that?
Disrespect, at the end of the day, respect goes both ways. I know inherently we've been taught to grow up and say you have to respect your parents. And yes, you grow up respecting your parents because they brought you here. But if this person, or when you grow up and they belittle you, they make you feel bad about your choices, they don't support you, they don't show up in the way that a parent is supposed to show up, why are you pouring back into that person?
Yeah.
This person doesn't care about you. They're just there by DNA.
Yeah.
It's a relationship at the end of the day. And we need to be able to feed into each other so that it can grow into something further.
Do you think the tension is often in how we want or expect people to love us? Because I think we
Expectation, there you go.
yeah,
Ooh, that's a big one.
it is.
That needs its own podcast.
That is another hour that we ain't got.
Because I think we have a certain outlook of love and how we want to be loved. But it's like people don't love us the way we want to be loved. And when that is the case, does it mean that the person doesn't love me or the person doesn't care about me?
I get that. But then I think then the onus is on you to communicate how you want to be loved.
Yeah. Look, I think it's quite nuanced, the question that I'm asking. Because I think there's a line, there's a very thin line between people loving us and, how do I phrase this? And just getting the bare minimum, from people. Because oftentimes and you see it with the older generation. The older generation doesn't know how to say, I love you.
I'm sorry.
100%. Right?
Oh my God.
But then you look at their actions and it's like, okay, their actions are very telling, right? Then you'll have somebody who won't say, I love you, who won't say, I'm sorry. But like, there's a disconnect in their actions and it's like, what is this? And I guess that's where the line comes in to say, hey, I'm drawing the line here. You don't show up with your words. You still don't show up with your actions, and I'm still tolerating you. What is this?
And that's why I say I think you also need to communicate how you want to be loved, because sometimes people really just don't know. And it's not to say that they're not cognizant of it. It's because they've been in this pattern of treating you like this for so long that they thought it was okay. Now that you're older and you're realizing this is my love language, this is how I want to be appreciated, this is how I want to be taught. And love languages spans across all relationships.
I was about to say.
It spans in friendships, it spans in relationships with partners as well as with parents. Because at the end of the day, I grow up now. Maybe my parents haven't been able to say, thank you, I love you, I'm sorry, throughout my life. I'm now older. And if I say that to them and I say, please, in this situation, can you be able to say 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, D? How they react will tell you, oh, I actually had no idea that I wasn't doing that. If they care enough about you, they will change.
Yeah.
If they don't care, then and then you can say, but I spoke up. You still don't want, I'm out of here. And I think it's the same in any relationship, even a relationship with a partner, because a partner might not know all of your love languages because you haven't communicated them. Once you communicate them and they still go back on it and they still don't get any better, you are 100% allowed to leave that relationship. The same with friendships as well. Because if I can be there for you, for your wedding, for your birthday, for your child's gender reveals, all of those things, do you know what I mean? If I can arrive for all of those things, surely you can also arrive for me when I ask you to do something. It can't only be a one-way street. Do you know what I mean?
I guess it boils down to communication, like you said a couple of moments ago. we had this one time, my wife and I, we had a very interesting conversation, and I only got it afterwards. And I'm sorry, babe, but
He throws you under the bus every episode. Don't worry, girl, we got you.
but I think a good relationship, I think, survives on the people involved in it understanding each other. And by understanding, I mean fully understanding each other, right? My wife grew up with words. I didn't grow up with words, right? And so I got to a point where I would hype myself up, right? In the absence of words, and when I needed those words and I didn't get them, I would then need to hype myself up, right? And so a defense mechanism for me that I ended up building was that for any and every relationship in my life, right, I'm going to show up for the people, right? And so that's how I've sort of like relationshiped. And in me doing that, there were instances where, because I didn't grow up with words, I thought, whatever, right? But then I meet my wife and it's like, I didn't grow up like that. This is a different dynamic, right? And by words, I mean words of affirmation, being affirmed, not necessarily communicating, but being affirmed and being encouraged and being told, you're doing well, blah, 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 right? And I didn't get it because I'm like, why do you need those words? And I think I was approaching the relationship with how I grew up to say, I didn't get the words, but I still figured things out. You know what I mean? And it's only when she sat me down to say, dude, this is how I grew up. This was my dynamic growing up, that I realized that you can't relationship and love people with your love language. Because oftentimes what we do is we love people with our own love language. And when we don't break through and get through to people, we like, okay, I'm doing something wrong. But it's like, no, you're not doing something wrong. You wanting to love the person that you know how to love. And it's like, no. It doesn't work that way. Hence I say any good relationship survives on understanding the next person. And I think I've gotten to a point where I just want to understand like the next person. If I'm in a relationship with you, I want to understand you so I can meet you wherever you are. If I don't do that, then I'll come across as this cold, nonchalant person. And that at the time I'm not. At that time I'm not even that. But I'm perceived to be that because I'm not meeting you wherever you are. So that's the education that I've gotten, with my relationship with my wife, getting married. I've learned that we need to love people in their own love language, not our.
But
our
I think,
love language.
but also what's important with knowing their love language is that they need to express it and tell you, this is
Yes.
how I want to be loved. Because the expecting it causes the resentment. Whereas if she did not communicate that to you, you wouldn't know and you would still
100%.
be nonchalant and cold and perceived as this person who doesn't understand me. And I don't think you would have gotten to a point where you got married because she would have tapped out long ago because you didn't get it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she also needed to take responsibility of how she wants to be loved, to tell you. Because we are different, we're human beings, we want things in a different way. The same way you didn't grow up with affirmation. So maybe for you, it's a little awkward, like, ugh, why are we saying these words? It's fine. She doesn't have to say them to you, but she can show you.
Yeah.
She can give you a hug.
Shame she shares them.
She can give you a hug. She can buy you a gift. She can take you out for lunch. Maybe that's the way you want to be shown. Do you know what I mean? But you wouldn't get there without telling each other. And I think that's the biggest problem with most relationships. People don't tell each other what they expect.
Yeah, you've been so quiet, sir.
You guys have said it all. You've
Come
said,
on.
Genuinely, you've said it all.
You need to close, give us the self-love note. Not
Yes.
the
Yes. The breakaway self-love note.
That's funny. I think, look, you guys raised very important things about communication and just communicating. This is how I am. This is how we build this. One thing beyond all of that I've sort of kind of learned and I've picked up just in all the I've used my work as research now, a lot of it, especially in the show that I'm doing currently. One thing you pick up is that a lot of relationships, man, they don't need to be forced. Like anytime it feels like a drag, like
Like in Mereko.
then it must not feel like that. You know, I remember being at a wedding and someone giving a speech. Like there was a friend, so the one friend was getting married, and this friend is giving a speech. The friend that's giving a speech is married at the time. I don't know now. And then in her speech, she repeats like maybe 15 times how hard work it is. And I remember thinking, repeating it 15 times seems like too much for me. That feels like,
Girl, you gotta get out of there.
like there's work in friendships and all our relationships. Family is the one you don't choose, so that's probably the hardest one to work on, because it's like if you happen to be in a family where maybe it's a parent or is a sibling and you guys just don't get along, that's a harder thing to sort of work on, because it's sort of like, you know, you're forced to be in that relationship. Friendships and romantic relationships you're not forced to be in, right? So if you have to work too hard or anything like that, generally these things work out themselves very naturally. That doesn't mean you don't have to communicate, doesn't mean you don't have to set boundaries, doesn't mean you don't have to have conversations about certain things, but it generally just works out. It naturally, there should be like a natural foundation, is what I'm trying to get at. Like there's just a natural thing that's there. There's a reason why I'm not friends with everyone I meet in the world, you know? And then there's certain people that I meet and I see there's when, you know, we click and that's it, and we're friends and we're good. And we'll figure each other out as we go. We'll learn things about each other. There will be hard times, of course.
Right.
But there has to be that natural. In romantic relationships, people say, you know, you just have to like have a natural attraction to the person. It's the same thing with friendships. You know, you just have to naturally be like, oh, I like her, or you know, I like him, or whatever, and that sort of builds into something. Once you have to force it too much, man, hey, it's fine, let it go, hey.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like sometimes you'll find that a lot of the people who are complaining about it being hard work is because they're not speaking up. They're swallowing a lot of what they don't agree with. And that's why it feels like hard work to them, because they're not being heard. They're swallowing a lot of what they don't want. But then for the sake of the relationship, let me keep quiet. No, communicate to your partner, because your partner probably doesn't even know half of the things that you are resenting about him right now.
Yep.
You know?
That's interesting. Are you guys happy with your friends?
I'm great with my friends. I mean, Kevin and I went on a young short left 2 weeks ago, and he had a great time.
So
and he had a
funny.
great time because he was with me.
When should,
I mean, you know, there were other reasons.
No, but generally speaking, I think I'm okay with the friends that I've had. I've lost a few over the years. I think everybody has. Some of them confusing, others I let go of because I was tired of holding the baggage. And I'm okay with it. You know, sometimes you also feel a weight lifted off of your shoulder when you've let go of somebody who doesn't play their part in the friendship.
Peace.
And I'm okay with that. Yes, we have mutual friends. It's fine. We can be in the same space. I'm okay with that. I'm never going to be the monster who makes it awkward now because we're not friends with that person. I don't care. You can be friends with that person because you have your own relationship with that person. I couldn't do it anymore because of my own reasons, and that person knows why I don't want to be there anymore. But it doesn't mean we can't be in the same space. It doesn't mean that we can't, coexist. At the end of the day, I have my peace with it. You have your peace. The people I have around me are the people that I want to talk to, and I'm okay with it.
Look, human beings are very complex creatures, right? I struggle to understand myself half the time, so let alone the next person, right? But we can, and I like what you said about that, is that I think even with the friendship breakup or anything like that, or even romantic relationship breakups, actually, is to not see that other person as a monster. I think let's stop turning each other into monsters. Sometimes it's just a case of, that was a lot, or that wasn't great, but it was fun while it lasted, or we had a good time. It is what it is, right? Let's not turn each other into monsters in that breakup. It's just more of a, that didn't work out. It was like this and whatever. Humans are complex. They're going to human. I human all the time. Like I said, sometimes I don't understand myself, sometimes I don't want to be my friend, and so it's a complex thing. Don't try too much. Don't try too hard. Sort of just go with it. If it feels good, it feels good. If you're at peace, you're at peace. If there are things to work on, you work on them. If they can't be worked on, it is what it is. There's just too many complexities to it that there's no one answer to the thing.
Yeah.
It's like, things happen.
100%. I think for me, I'm super grateful for the friends that I have, because I remember one time 2 years ago, I used to complain a lot to my wife, then girlfriend, because of the friends that I had, where I would give way too much, right? And I'd be forgiving and forgiving and forgiving. And I said to myself, "Aye, grand." And when that was happening, God brought brothers into my life. I actually don't call them friends. I call them brothers. And I was taken aback, I think about 2 weeks ago, when one of my friends, he was proposing to his girlfriend, and I saw my wife posting in the family group that Thabang's best friend is we going out. Thabang's best friend is actually getting engaged. And I looked at that message and I thought to myself, I don't recall ever having like a best friend, and now I do.
Oh, sorry. It's not the thing I said about best friends.
Awkward.
Right? And now I do. I think people don't realize this. As people, even in friendships, we actually have needs. You know, and I think I got to a point where God brought people in my life who saw the need that I had, and they covered and closed that need, you know. So I'm super grateful for the brothers that I have in my life. Super focused guys. Everybody's getting married. Everybody's proposing. And yeah.
But us, you're just leaving us behind.
Don't worry, you'll find me and give it on the dance floor. One beautiful thing about God, and I think I've noticed it myself as well, is that when He removes people out of your life, they don't need to be there anymore. They've served their purpose. You've learned the lesson you needed to learn, but He will replace them with new people that you need for that time in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Shall we close?
Yeah.
Friendship is a beautiful thing, man.
It is.
It really is. I guess relationshiping is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Like, try to have fun with it as for as long as it lasts. Some people will be there for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. It is what it is.
And that is the breakaway note.
No.
The self-gov
That's
note.
trademarked, Lord.
The self-gov note.
Yes.
Listen, thank you so much for watching. We do hope that you enjoyed this episode. We did. Also remember to like, subscribe,
Comment.
Which one is it first? Yeah,
Share.
that one. Tell your friends and your family and your world about this podcast. Until next time. Cheers.
Thank you.